In 1066, the Norman Conquest operated as a state overwrite protocol. The invaders systematically deleted the ruling class of Anglo-Saxon England, stripping the native elite of their lands, their titles, and their lives. The new regime enforced this overwrite through highly organized violence. The invaders deployed heavy cavalry and armored shock troops to rapidly subjugate local populations. Facing this relentless charge were indigenous foot soldiers. Against such a military machine, the native population was largely defenseless. Yet, hidden deep in the archival records is a single family line that successfully navigated this purge, the Tunnicliffes. Their survival tracks the path ordinary people took to avoid the slaughter. Survival during a state-level overwrite is rarely accidental. To avoid deletion, a bloodline relies on specific, systemic strategies of evasion. The first requirement for survival is topography. The Tunnicliffe ancestors originated in Tunnicliffe, a high-altitude settlement embedded within the freezing vertical rock formations of the northern Pennine Hills. To the south, the flat, fertile agricultural plains offered no resistance. Norman soldiers easily crossed those open fields, subjugating the populations there in a matter of weeks. But the Norman military machine had strict operational limits. Their heavy cavalry could not operate in steep, freezing ravines, and their massive stone keeps required stable ground and dense population centers to function. Because the Tunnicliffes lived far above those fertile plains, the harsh environment acted as a geographic shield, blocking the invading army's primary methods of rapid displacement. When confronted by a technologically superior military, distance and altitude dictate vulnerability. Geography forms the foundation of any survival strategy. The Normans who crossed the Channel were military engineers. They knew how to build forts and break shield walls, but they lacked the specific agricultural knowledge needed to farm the rugged northern environment. This diagram illustrates the logic of the newly imposed tenurial system. It shows a heavy top-down extraction system resting heavily upon a pulsing base layer, the agricultural workforce, that served as the biological engine of the territory. The native Anglo-Saxons paid a heavy price to keep this engine running. Previously independent landowners were demoted overnight, forced to work the same soil as bound tenants under their new French landlords. The Tunnicliffes avoided the sword because their labor was necessary. Slaughtering the northern farmers would have destroyed the very yield the invaders sought to control. A coercive system cannot kill the metabolic base it relies upon. For a targeted population, producing the essential yield is a powerful form of leverage. We finally see archival proof of this survival nearly 2 centuries later. The Assize Rolls of Lancashire, written in 1246, contain the first formal legal record of the family's persistence. The document lists a man named Henry de Tunnicliffe. It is a striking anomaly, a purely Old English geographic identifier paired directly with a continental French prefix. By adopting the French particle de, meaning of, the family executed a form of linguistic camouflage. They mimicked the naming conventions of the Norman aristocracy to safely navigate the legal realities of the new kingdom. Geography and labor can protect a family through the first winter of an invasion, but securing a permanent place within a hostile new society requires adopting the language of the conqueror. To understand this history, we have to look past the clinical data. We must look down from the freezing ridges of the Pennines during the brutally cold winter of 1069. Down in the valleys, the French soldiers were executing the king's new law. They burned the landscape to ash, ensuring the earth itself could never feed another rebellion. It was an absolute erasure. Riders torched the winter grain stores, slaughtered the livestock, and stripped the fields bare, while surviving Anglo-Saxon political leaders fled the north entirely. Up in the high settlements, survival meant silence. Families carried their remaining sacks of grain into the deep, dark caves behind mountain springs, hiding from the riders below. This page from the Doomsday Book shows the dense Latin script foreign scribes used to inventory northern assets. This formal record marks the moment the survivors' status changed permanently. The Tunnicliffes evaded the fire and kept their bloodline alive, but the ultimate cost of surviving a conquest is autonomy. They survived the winter, but they woke up as property.